Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jake over at Eagle Eye. I've got a Thursday night football play tonight that I have got my eyes on. We've got our first taste of the NFC Beast in 2021 as the Giants are on the road facing the Washington football team, with both teams coming off of Week 1 losses. Washington played the Chargers last week, losing 20-6, and what the naked eye would assume was a defensive battle. However, not exactly the case. I'm going to get into that in a second. New York, on the other hand, they lost their Week 1 matchup at home against the Broncos. It wasn't a great performance, but it was quite the whiskey dick performance from the offense. Probably the worst one in the league, next to maybe the Chargers. Let's first talk about the Washington game and Washington in general. Fitzmagic is out. He's hurt. He's on the IR. That sucks. Fan favorite Taylor Heinicke is going to get the start. Now, I love this dude. He was an absolute character in the XFL, went viral for chugging Bud Light Seltzer, which is something I can always get behind. Unfortunately, his fun-to-watch play style doesn't exactly translate into winning football. He's 0-2 as a starter. He's 0-4 in games played. In his 2 starts, he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 picks. In career numbers, he averages under 7 yards an attempt and has a QBR south of 80. Let's not read too into him being a great quarterback. He'll be leading a Washington offense that had just 259 yards of offense last week. They were held to just 3 of 10 on third down. That lack of dry sustainability actually hindered them to just 2 red zone trips. They converted 1 for a touchdown. Washington, their defense, that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be this big, awesome D. And last week, when you hold them to 16 points, it looks like that to the naked eye. Like I said, it wasn't that way, though. The Chargers moved the ball with ease. They converted on third down 14 of 19 times and passed for well over 300 yards. Most impressively, they finished 78% of their drives inside the Washington 25-yard line. They had the same issue as New York did with their inability to finish drives, but after a touchdown, a back-to-back 3-and-out, their drives finished at the Washington 15-yard line, the 9, the 15 again, the 20, a touchdown, and then they had a 6-minute, 42-second drive to milk out the clock and end that thing on the 9-yard line. I mean, that was great. They had a couple of ugly turnovers in the red zone, held to 2 field goals. But I mean, honestly, Washington did not impress me to the slightest last week. Now let's take a look at the Giants. That offense, obviously, they struggled to establish a run game. They had a lack of plays that involved Saquon Barkley, and that's going to honestly be what tonight looks like. Luckily, Danny Dimes owns the Washington football team. In 4 games against Washington, he's 4-0. He's completed over 68% of his passes for over 900 yards and 8 touchdowns and just 3 picks. He's also been good on the ground. He's had 120 yards on limited carries. And in those games, the Giants have averaged 27 points per game with an average win margin of over 7. One of the biggest upgrades, obviously, this offseason for them was Kenny Galladay at receiver. He had an okay day week 1. He had 4 catches for 64 yards. I expect them to have a little bit better chemistry here in week 2. But the most impressive guy in the offense was 6th-year receiver Sterling Shepard. Shep hauled in 7 catches on 9 targets, had 113 yards and a score. Those 2, as well as Darius Slayton, they're great options. They're not going to have Pro Bowl tight end Evan Ingram tonight, but they should be able to move the ball through the air against a Washington football team that really got shredded last week. In a similar story, as I noted earlier, the offense struggled to finish. They ended 6 of their 8 drives in opponent territory, with 2 of them being on downs inside the opponent 25. Long story short, they did move the football, but again, they got that whiskey dick mentality. They just can't finish. Defensively for New York, they looked average against the Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater, defensively for New York, looked average. Teddy had a good game, completed a high percent of its passes, had 260 yards and 2 scores. The defense really, running-wise, they had 1 bad play. Melvin Gordon broke a 70-yarder, but other than that, they held Denver to just 3.5 yards on 27 carries. That's not bad. Now, there's a very good chance that tonight is ugly. However, there's no way that I see the Washington football team pulling this out. I absolutely love the Giants' money line in this spot. If you don't have the nuts, take the spread. That's fine. They'll give you 3 points, 3.5 points, whatever the hell it is for your book. I'm going to go plus 155. I've got a 3-unit play on that bitch. That thing is going to bring home over 4. Let's just win this thing tonight, man. I'm excited. Thursday night football, it's going to be great.